Letting it be, is that not really one of the most difficult tasks we're faced with? Just to let it be. Again, nothing to figure out, nothing to fix. We are constantly driving, this morning driving through the pouring, pounding rain. I had a destination. We have a destination in our lives. We are often driving towards it, rarely thinking about really why we're headed there, what we're going to do when we get there. So let me just check. How many of you have bought a lottery ticket for the massive mega? Okay. So I have not. Okay. So I wish you all luck. God bless you. God bless you. Not that that will help. Yes, I'm an ordained minister, but I don't know if that's going to help. Doesn't hurt. Here's what I will tell you. Here's my take. Buy the tickets. Life exists on many levels. Buy the tickets. Make the effort. Get to the job. Do your thing. But understand that every single person in this room already has a gift that most people do not possess. That gift is an understanding on some level that there is something larger. So either you are sort of in the seeking mode, or you're in the figuring it out mode, or you're comfortable in your own construct of the universe and God and how it all works and how it all comes together. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you actually have a one-up on many people on the planet who do not have some understanding beyond their own ego that there is something more going on inside and outside of them, a larger picture. So I will tell you, yes, it'd be great if you won even a tiny fraction of that lottery. I would agree. That would be brilliant. How amazing. And you'd be able to take care of yourself and your family differently. But the bottom line is you already possess a gift that will take you far beyond those riches. Because I will tell you this right now, if you won that prize next week, I do not wish the life that you may lead following that moment. I will tell you that most of us are not prepared for great wealth. Most of us are not prepared for a shift in circumstances that is beyond our understanding. We are capable of living into only that which we can hold. And most of us can hold just a little bit more money, just a little bit more time, just a little bit more in relationship. And in order for you to have that, my understanding lately has been you need to be in partnership. So I'm thinking a lot these days about partnerships. Many of you know that I decided recently to leave the business that I built, leave my partner of 8 years, my business partner. A challenging moment indeed, one that I do not regret for a second. There were some challenging moments to our relationship, and once you step away from the commitment or the pressure, the partnership pressure, when you're trying to make something work, suddenly everything works much more easily. So if you've ever left a relationship and a month later you find out that the person you were dating got the haircut that you always thought they should get, started the 12-step program you desperately wanted to get them into, started reading the books, started going to the gym, and you thought, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I told you to do all those things. We could still be together if you took care of all those things. So my relationship with my business partner has never been better. Stepping into relationships that work, a partnership that works, requires courage, vulnerability, and commitment. Any relationship, for it to work, whether it's with your children, whether it's with your husband, wife, significant other, anybody at work, anybody you are deeply committed to in relationship with, for that to work, you have to make an effort, yes? And the bottom line is, most of us do not treat our spiritual partnership with God with the same reverence, understanding, and commitment. Most of us come to church on Sunday, we have some connection, we have some community, there's a little bit of light, we hear some nice music, and then we step back and somehow we imagine that when the vicissitudes of life, when the rocky road of life hits us, that we'll be fine because we charged up our battery for an hour or two. Most of us, many of us, are not sitting in quiet in that room, in our minds, in the Christ consciousness may call, Christianity may call the upper room, the room inside where we can be quiet, where we can be still. Most of us are hungry for more stillness and more partnership. I will tell you right now, it's available to you. It's a choice. If you want to build a more fulfilled life, a life with relationships that are rich, with moments that are both exciting and calm, with enough money, with enough energy, with enough health. You need to make the commitment to a different kind of partnership. There are so many different kinds of partnership out there. The challenge that I think most of us have when we think about partnering with God is that we think that the conversation has to be in a particular language, delivered in a certain way, inside of a certain room, inside of a certain pathway. The brilliance of New Thought and of the Unity path in particular is that Unity honors every single path to God. So however you got to this chair this morning is perfect. Because what it allowed you to do is sit here for a few minutes, trust some of the words that come through me and others will touch you and move you, and you will have that much more strength walking out the door to remember to engage in your own conversation, or I might say partnership with the divine, starting tonight, tomorrow, and the next day. If you look at your conversations with God as partnership meetings, and you treat them a little bit more formally, there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end to the conversation. Maybe you learn to sit in a particular way. Maybe you kneel. Maybe there is a particular prayer that you love. Maybe the prayer for protection. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But the brain adores a habit. The brain adores structure. And the brain and the heart will link and open when you offer it a pathway to do so. So I have never stood here or in any other church and said, this is the prayer you need to pray, this is the way in which you need to pray it, these are the songs you need to sing. I find that there is not one way. However, a secret that I've learned is to figure out what reminds me that I'm in partnership. So for me, many of you know, driving down here, I always have some interesting experience with animals, most often with birds. Because I'm driving, it's challenging to have other animal interactions while one is driving. And as I was driving here, right after I noticed the accident that Charlie had asked me about, there was somebody had driven off the road, and I had that exquisite opportunity to see somebody recognize they were going to be okay, sort of slowed down a little bit, took that in, then said a prayer of thanks that I could still come and be with you today, and I was not the one in that car, right? Moment of grace. Coming out of that moment of gratitude, perfectly timed, 6 geese flying in formation right over the highway. I love those moments. You cannot predict those moments. A week ago, thinking about this talk, and the fact that I have mentioned that for some reason, for me, a great reminder is the heron, great blue heron in particular. They're all over the place for me. They show up all the time. It's the freakiest thing, I will tell you. Here's what I've learned, though. Each of us have not only a power animal, but we have signs that show up for us. God has given you something that if you see it, whether it's a sunset, whether it's a particular cant of the light, whether it's an animal, whatever it might be, there's a part of your brain, the reticular activators actually is the part of your actual brain, that recognize a pattern. And you say, oh, there is a God. Oh, that's right, that's right. And it knocks you out of this egoic focus that we live inside of every day, which is about consumption. I love the fact that today's reading actually says, let me quote, "My mortal mind is limited." My mortal mind is limited. We don't want to buy that. We do not want to buy that truth. And the way in which we push that truth aside is we continue to consume. We are a society built on consumption. Sooner or later, we're going to run into trouble. We know, many of us in this room, that we've already run into trouble in terms of how we use the resources in our lives and on the planet. The issue is that we believe that our mortal mind is unlimited and capable of everything. So therefore, we are a prisoner to our own expectations. I should be making more money. I should be a little bit stronger. I should be younger. I should have more, and just fill in the blank, right? And that keeps us in a prison. I spent all day Friday with a group of people who I've become close to, who are about looking at new ways to approach sustainability. And their message is the message that I have been trying to deliver in my ministry for about the last 20 years, which is that right as we are, today, in this moment, we are enough. We are enough. We have enough. Now just listen to your own thoughts. What happens when you hear that? For many of us, there is a fantastically loud and painful but that follows the thought. So you are still in your metaphorical spiritual chair. That candle is lit. And your mind is often racing to figure out what's next. How do I get more? This is true for every human on the planet. This is how we work. To counteract that, we need to figure out some new ways to think about sufficiency. So what is enough? Is this talk enough for you? Is this experience enough? Was that song enough? Is the outfit you put on enough? Is the car you're driving enough? And I have found that I need to surround myself with a community who understands that I will move into places where I feel not enough consistently during the day, and I need people to remind me. I need people to remind me that, no, I do not need to buy a new car. I spent a week obsessed with a new car. I do not need a new car. Many of you know me fairly well. I've been coming here over the years, at least 2 or 3 times a year. You've lived through 3 cars with me, some of you. You know that the yellow car in the parking lot is mine. It's only 2 years old. I spent a week obsessed with car porn. Yes, I will call it that. And I love the new advertising for cars.com, right? Because the mother is standing there and she's in the middle of soccer practice and the kids that she loves the most, she's given over that. And what is she? She's totally obsessed with the app, looking for a new Acura SUV, because everybody has to have an Acura SUV in order to feel fulfilled and feel enough. Well, I spent a week staring at an Audi that was also yellow, that had, I'm sure, a better stereo, and cost $44,000. I do not need a $44,000 car. However, I live in Belmont, Massachusetts, where most people who are around me and go to my gym actually drive cars a lot more expensive than $44,000. And it is a challenge for me to remember what is enough. What is enough? And I can only remember that when I come home, go upstairs to the 3rd floor, sit in quiet, look at pictures of my father who has passed, look at pictures of my mother who is ill, look at the picture of Jesus that I have next to Ganesh. Take a breath in and realize, in this moment, I am enough. I am enough, and everything that follows today will be enough, and all the words that I offer will be enough, and the ways in which I am of service will be enough. And when we approach our lives and our spiritual partnerships and all of our partnerships and relationships feeling enough, what happens? It comes back to you tenfold. If you step into a relationship and you feel enough, that relationship has much more of a chance of working and being healthy for both people. This is true of your relationship with God. This is really very simple. You do not have to go to seminary. You do not need to study the Bible. You do not need to look at Course in Miracles one more time. You do not even need to look at another Unity passage to understand that you already know enough about how to connect with God and how to trust that you are enough and it is enough as it is unfolding right now. Everything you have done to this moment brought you to this place. And you have conscious choice to live in a fulfilled spiritual partnership with God or decide that it is lacking. Pragmatically and practically, which is what New Thought is all about. It's actually a very selfish concept. I invite you to live into the holy selfishness of it and choose to own that you are enough already, that you can create a dynamic, powerful spiritual partnership with God without learning any new chants, any new music, or buying another Karen Drucker album. You don't need it. You already got it going on. You rock. The words that come out of you, to you, and through you are the words you were given. The songs that you know are the words and the songs that you were given to sing. God is waiting for you to step into full partnership. It is that simple. You have a home here. You have a spiritual home here. It is your choice to open that door and sit in that chair more often so that the rest of life, as it comes at you, and it is coming at us faster than ever, so that you can handle it and know that you are not alone. You are one half of the most magnificent partnership that exists and was created to connect with humanity from the beginning of time. You are a recipient and an owner of that corporation, of that limited liability partnership. God is with you now and always. Simply say yes. And so, taking this message just a little bit deeper in, I invite you to close your eyes. And let us breathe in and out 3 times together. Breathing in and out. And in and out. And in and out. You are home now and home forevermore. Amen.
Well, before we go on to our next song,
you have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.